Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Better late than never. I wish I could have been to you sooner on time. Got a full-time job and busted my butt and stuff, so it's kind of hard to keep up with everything that's going on and pump these videos out. But I thought this is worthy to talk about. It's on my mind all yesterday, 11 years after, and just the continued betrayal to the people of the world, that the Fukushima nuclear catastrophe continues to be ignored, and the endless suffering that as a result of the Fukushima meltdowns on 3/11/2011 still haunt us today. And it's really easy to forget when you have Ukraine, Russia, coronavirus, all these other things thrown at the population to get them submissive, to get them in a trance, to completely forget Fukushima and the lessons that should have been learned. I'm going to say lessons forgotten, because what we have learned from Fukushima catastrophe is the insidious desire of these World Economic Forum individuals to actually hide the catastrophe from us. We have learned that if there will be a meltdown in the future, they will dump the nuclear water into areas, even if they have the capability to contain such catastrophes to a certain extent. They will not try to contain any water whatsoever. They will leak it right into the environment, into the biosphere, and as a result, all of us will become depopulated, our genomes will be destroyed, and very few of society will be able to continue their legacy. You have to understand, they already have their bunkers deep down in the caves. They've already planned for the worst case scenario. If you look at the Georgia Guidestones 2030, their objectives are 500 million. They have about 5 billion to go. So I believe nuclear is their kill switch, where they can get you with a nuclear weapon or they can get you with a dirty bomb. Me today, I am drinking a dirty mojito. Instead of using white rum, I'm using a spiced brown rum. So this will be in remembrance to all the fallen from the Fukushima particles. This one's to you. And to the future, the bleak future, this one's to you as well. It's my dirty mojito. Little ice, little lemon, some peppermint leaves, stir it up with some ice. Salud. I haven't had a drink in about 4 months. I quit a lot of bad things because I realize that it doesn't take much to throw your body out of whack, and we're up against it. Whether you believe that or not, we are. And you really got to go out of your way now to be healthy, because simple things, I notice I mess up one time, I eat some fast food one day, bam, my body's just out of whack. So I'm taking all the precautions I can now. That's why I don't really drink that much. But I am making a special observation of what's happening. And I thought, you know, why not? I'm going to have a dirty mojito today. So, as you can see, I have the screen capture here. Yoshit is the Prime Minister of Japan. And he says he's going to use exhaustive measures against harmful rumors. Have we heard about these harmful rumors? Well, it seems what's really harmful is the radiation that is leaking into the Pacific Ocean and into our airstreams. That's what's really harmful. Just talking about that is considered harmful rumor. As we can see, the lies will continue into infinity. You cannot expect these people to observe realistic probabilities, statistics. They will always twist the stats. They will always lie to you. I might be wrong about certain things, but my heart is sincere. And if I come out and I find out later I was wrong about something, I will admit it. I have no problem admitting I am wrong. But these people will lie to your face knowing what they're doing to you. And this is about with so many things. And literally, you could turn off the news. You could do the opposite, whatever the news says, and you will be much better off. If they say to leave your home, stay. If they say to take a certain medicine, don't do it. If they say send your sons and daughters to war, don't send them. Keep them with you. This is right now the time that you need to huddle up, be close to your family and friends, have bug out bags, have plans, have a place that you can go, alternative, because I believe it's nothing from downhill from here. With the way everything is going, the price of gas, the price of food is going up, inflation, all these things are hitting precisely. And another reason why I had to get back to work is because I realized that the money I saved up is just not enough just to get by. If you can't work, maybe you're disabled, maybe you've been hurt. There's a lot of people that have been hurt from Fukushima. They've been hurt from government oppression, demanding certain things out of people. You know, I really can't talk about those type of things because, fortunately, we're dealing with censors that censor the truth. And the fact checkers are really paid for by the people who are sponsoring these products that are damaging a significant part of our population. And this is all a depopulation event. And what have we learned? Well, we've learned that they will put up shielding in a playground around some radioactive equipment to lower their readings. We have learned they're going to dump all this radiation into your environment and say that's the only course of action when a whole 80-mile perimeter has been evacuated, that they could easily, not easily, because dealing with radiation is very hard and it's going to kill a lot of people anyway, but they could, in theory, take some of the, drain those fuel pools, put them in some other containers, and ship them inside of Japan. But no, they want to send it out of Japan because that is their whole idea. Not our problem, it's leaking. It's the world's problem now. And when you throw that onto the world, what is the world going to do? Well, you might have a few countries that protest, that throw up their arms and say, hey, enough is enough. But unfortunately, just raising your hands and saying, give me sanity, will not bring you sanity. It will just bring you despair because these people do not care about you, about me, your family, or mine, because in their plans, we are not in their plans. We are in the way. Salute. So on 3/11, whatever caused that earthquake, people have their suspicions. Was this a natural event? Was it a created event? Now, technically, they have the capability, they have the technology to create an earthquake weapon. Now, I'm not going to say that's how it really happened, but it is theoretically possible that this could have been used, and it will be used again. What else did we learn? We learned it's pretty stupid to keep fuel pools up 20 stories in a building to try to keep them cool. Because what happens if that pool cracks? What happens if the pump you need to pump up all that way to pump all that water in there to keep it cool is broken and is too radioactive for civilians or any type of human to work on, let alone robotic, that we know that they would get melted down, short out when they would try to get near the Fukushima radiation. And the technology is still not there with robots, with drones. Their best drone, their best way of monitoring inside of Fukushima was actually just a little boat that would go through the water. That was their best one. All the other ones failed. That was just able to go in there, get some readings, and float out. Yeah, pretty terrible. So now we got these buildings. They're still, you go to Illinois, you're surrounded, Chicago. They got enough problems as it is, but they got all these buildings just like Fukushima all around those Great Lakes. Isn't that nice? Isn't that lovely? Oh yeah, those Great Lakes are going to be not so great when they're filled with radiation. It's only a matter of time. Could be days, weeks, months, few years, maybe a decade, but it's going to happen. It will happen in time. Could be a tornado, could be a freak weather event. It could be just a failing part. It could be terrorism. It could be a military event. Eventually it will happen inside of the U.S. that we're going to experience a Fukushima-like event. People say it's not possible, whatever, but if we know it is suicidal to keep a fuel pool that high up in a small containment building, if they really cared about their nuclear technology, you think that they would be pushing to have the latest technology to avert any event like Fukushima, but they continue to have these mock fuel reactors, GE, and still in these buildings that are unsafe, very old. Would you really want to use a tool that's over 50, 70 years old? It's only a matter of time, and if you really look at it, it's going to be a short amount of time before this happens again. If I had to guess, it's going to happen this decade. For sure. For sure. For sure. In the U.S. I've monitored the boards, and there's always some parts breaking down. There's always mini events happening. So, give it time, folks. This is trusting the plan. That's the plan. Trusting nuclear. And then you wonder why they're shutting off all the gas in the U.S., why they don't want to drill anymore for gas in the U.S., why they're saying, well, we're not going to take gas from Russia now. And so what's that doing to the price of gas? Is skyrocketing. They're telling you, go ahead, get your Tesla, buy your $60,000 car. It's going to be plugged in from nuclear. Isn't that wonderful? So now we're going to be depending even more on nuclear. Their nuclear renaissance will be happening. But it's a nuclear hell. Nothing about a renaissance. There's nothing pretty or inspirational about it. We're surrounded by radiation. They've been pumping it out more than ever before. Maybe some people knew not to eat fish after Fukushima from the Pacific, but people are really quickly, easily to forget. They're on to the next problem. They get caught up so easy. You know, even people I know that I've talked to about it, they're still eating fish. They're still buying sea salt from the Pacific. They're still eating that Pacific tuna and salmon and sushi. And they think it's healthy. Well, what happens when you get fuku mixed with clot shada? Not a good mixture, my friend. So there's still many places in Japan that are completely radiated. Fuktonium. We've been Fukushima'd into oblivion. Many American service members who tried to put out the fires of Fukushima, their lives have been crippled, damaged. Many have been disabled, hurt, killed, dead. From the xenon, from all the radioactive isotopes that were coming out of Fukushima Daiichi. Many cities were abandoned. But they don't got the space, guys. Forget about it. They don't have the space. They had to abandon all these cities, but they don't have the space. Common sense says, take that spent fuel, get it away from the ocean. Japan doesn't care. They only care about cleaning up what they have there and getting out of it, getting rid of it, sweeping it under the rug. That's like you're next door to your neighbor and you just throw it in your neighbor's yard. Not very nice, right? Yeah, keep eating that Fukushima fish. Isn't that lovely? Look at these mutations. There's tons, millions of mutations that are happening all around. You can see it. Certain flowers and things all mutated. It's funny because I watch this guy, Gordon Ramsay. I've seen some of his cooking shows, and it always twists me inside when I see him messing around with fish and stuff. Fish and chips. But reality is there has been a huge meltdown. There have been huge releases. And think about how crazy it is. The largest nuclear power plant in Europe, they just had a freaking war inside of the power plant. This is what I was warning people about, is these become instant targets of war. Because now military tactics that they're using, the home team, or whatever you want to call it, the defenders, have put their artillery inside of this nuclear power plant. They are firing their artillery at the attackers coming in near their city from this nuclear power plant. They're basically daring them to be bombed, because they know that if they get killed or they get bombed, even if you use accurate targeting systems, if they're right next to a reactor, there's a good chance that they hit the reactor as well. That's what's been going on. So, really dirty work has to be done. And what they did, the Russians, they sent in troops, some of their best troops. They've been sending a lot of shitty troops into Ukraine. Well, they sent a good unit into this nuclear power plant to take them out. And that's really sketchy as well, because you never know what could happen when you have war inside of a nuclear power plant. How crazy is that? It's beyond crazy. You got your bunker? I'm in Florida. If I dig 5-10 feet, I'm hitting water. There's not too many people with bunkers here. You probably have to be a multimillionaire to even conceive of having a bunker here in Florida. I'm pretty much screwed. Now, maybe you can get away with it in a place like Kentucky where there's tons of caves, or Missouri, or something like that. That's going to be like one of the last refuge places. Me, I don't have that luxury. just sent our troops in. Yeah, when they first send in the troops near these nuclear bombs, like the first few hours, they're like, yeah, it's all fine, it's all dandy. And then the next day they saw that their soldiers just literally all their hair fall off and they can't do anything. And then they realized, oh crap. But they probably already knew, they just did it anyway because soldiers are just bullet sponges to them. They're just animals doing tricks for whatever they want. That's how they look at them. Remember Whip? Still creamed. Whip is still creamed, New Mexico. They don't give a crap. They were fracking all around the Whip facility. Like, you think they would ban fracking at least 50 miles away from the major nuclear repository, the U.S.? No, they had like 20, 25 fracking sites right on the border of Whip. Like, literally like 5 feet away. How crazy is that? Then they have caverns falling down and they wonder why? Idiots. Now, you do have some of these elites like Bezos, Musk saying, abandoned planet, we got to get out of here. They know. They know. They know this planet's already fucked, screwed. There's no turning back. No. These planets are there for a reason. They're there for us. They have full intentions of throwing this planet away to the garbage can. To, I guess, live on ships for an infinite amount of time.
For years, this has been the only solution to the increasing volumes of contaminated water. Build ever more tanks at the plant site to store it. Crippled by an earthquake and tsunami in 2011, water has been used to cool the damaged reactors, becoming radioactive and now totaling 1.25 million tons. The Japanese government says once treated, it's safe enough to be released.
We will attain a level of safety far above the regulation standards, and the government will take exhaustive measures against harmful rumors. We have judged that release into the ocean is a realistic option and decided it is the policy to follow.
Realistic option? Really? How is this? And then you have John Kerry, freaking sellout, saying, yeah, we support Japan's decision to dump this nuclear waste right into the ocean. So it's going to continue to happen again, folks. Whenever you have a nuclear catastrophe, the ocean is the toilet. Remember that. You remember the billions of people that eat food out there every day and what's happening to them. They're getting compoundedly screwed. And if you look up Deagle, he's been blacklisted from the internet. The Deagle stats, where the population numbers by 2025, and they predicted the population would be in the U.S. 99 million. When we had almost 400 million in this country, that means 3 out of the 4 people that you see will disappear in 3 years. You know what? I think we're right on track.
Supporters of the plan say this kind of water release is common practice in the nuclear industry and that there's only a minimal risk to health. But it's bound to hurt businesses in Fukushima, like tourism and fishing, that have taken years to rebuild, and opposition to it extends to Japan's neighbours. In South Korea, protesters gathered outside the Japanese embassy, with some claiming it's an act of nuclear terrorism. There are fears about the impact on industries like fisheries, with the government calling the move totally unacceptable.
후쿠시마 원전 오염수 해양 방출 결정은
The decision poses a threat to the safety and marine environment of neighboring countries. It is a unilateral action taken without due consultation.
There's also been condemnation from China, which has called the decision extremely irresponsible. And it comes as Japan is about to mark a 100-day countdown to its Summer Olympics, delayed by the pandemic. Already mired in controversy, the issue of Fukushima's contaminated water has cast a further shadow over the event. Tokyo will hope the decision to release the water will be one less problem to overcome, but the political and diplomatic fallout from it might make that wishful thinking. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
So yeah, admit, I'm salty, man. I'm really salty right now. You really thought after this would happen that the world would come together? They'd realize that nuclear technology is a mistake. They would have moved on to sustainable resources. They would have done more solar. They would have done more compressed air. They would have used more biofuels. And it was all smoke and mirrors. Now, they have set it up. They've set up the game to where now nuclear is exploding more than ever. You have nuclear uranium stocks are up more than they have ever been since 2011 Fukushima meltdown. Because they know they're pushing people away from gas. And now those people are buying Teslas and all those electric cars. They will be fueled mainly from nuclear technology. So this guy right here, he's in charge of the nuclear repositories, nuclear waste in the U.S. I guess he was in the Navy, so he's probably a smart guy, right? But considering he doesn't really look like he's all there, you know? I don't know if he has the world's best interests in heart when it comes to nuclear waste, what his plans are. So he looks a little off, if you know what I mean. He is the new director of nuclear waste disposal. His high heels. Now, I don't want to say just because he's wearing high heels, maybe he won't do a good job, but I'm just saying something's a little off here. Something's a little off about him, you know. I don't have a problem if you want to wear high heels and you're a guy. I mean, I have no problem with it. I don't know. Something's a little fishy about it. I don't trust him. I'm sorry. I don't trust him. He's going to do a good job. I've seen the track record of nuclear, and I think that something's off about him, you know? Don't you think something's off about him? It's not something that I chose. I mean, nuclear chose us. It's indiscriminate. It doesn't care what race you are, what you believe in. It doesn't care about the color of your skin. It doesn't care about your sexual orientation. Nuclear doesn't care if your heart's in the right place or not. It's indiscriminate. It kills without thinking, without knowing. It's a natural born killer. It's not safe. It's not green. It's not too cheap to meter. It's not your friend. It won't bail you out. Nuclear is hell on earth. And it's really sickening. There's a very influential writer in my area. He writes, "Oh, nuclear power is a green, clean technology." Nothing could be further from the truth. There's nothing clean about it. It's simply the dirtiest thing that you could ever imagine. All the new isotopes that they're creating in these reactors and releasing to the environment of their citizens. And they have the gall, they have the gusto to be able to tell you, lie to your face that this is a clean technology, when everything about it says that it's not. It's really disgusting and despicable. These creatures would presume to say that nuclear is safe, clean, and green. So we are accelerating. Some people, they have this theory of accelerate. They believe that you should always just pick the worst outcome. When you vote, you choose the worst person just to get it on already, just to get it going so you can get it out of the way sooner. And I tend to think this is a flawed way of thinking, that you just continuing to hope for the worst outcome, because you're going to get it. We've gotten it. If you just look at the current situation, how bad things have gotten in a short amount of time. And it's never been good. I mean, all of our presidents have been scum. But this present one, I mean, he's just off the charts, senile. Just making these stupid decisions left and right. Everything about this guy is just bad news. And I could say that about all of them. It just keeps getting worse and worse. We are accelerating towards the economic forum's goals. There is enough people out there who actually know what's going on, so there will be some who will be able to continue this fight forward. Unfortunately, most of us will get caught up in the system's demise. Remember, they were just talking about China? China was like, we condemn how irresponsible Japan is. And now look at China, that they actually tried to normalize nuclear power in the Olympics by exposing some of the greatest athletes in the world to radiation. They don't care. They don't look like they're any better, really. Look at them. This is like downtown. They have millions of people who live right by this nuclear reactors. And to actually put Olympians within 20 feet of these stacks, are they freaking out of their mind? This is beyond retarded. They want to dumb down the masses so much. They got people such a sleep, such in a hypnosis, that they're just trying to pass this off as normal. And there's nothing normal about this picture. China's no better than Japan in these regards, that they're exposing their people. They're building a bunch of new nuclear power plants, so obviously they haven't learned. Nobody's really learned, really. The only population I saw that made a drastic change was Germany. They make a lot of dumb decisions, but the one good decision they did was to close down their nuclear facilities, because they knew after Fukushima that it was just plain stupid to have these buildings if you want to keep your people healthy. I got this video out a little late, and probably should have dived into it a little bit better, give you some more footage about what's going on, but these are just my thoughts. 11 years on, what have we learned? We have learned that we will be lied to extreme measures. And not many countries have took this lesson to heart. Should have been a learning experience. Well, what can you do now? Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Have a plan B, a plan C. Live your life to the fullest. Have a few good friends, hopefully. It's not the amount of friends you have. It's about the good friends, the close friends, that look out for each other. Don't eat fish. Turn off the news. Stay healthy. Get some exercise. Have a few kids. Don't let them talk you out of not having a family. A lot of people, they wait too long. They realize it's too late. They grow up old. They don't have no kids. Nobody take care of them. They're very lonely. I feel sorry for those people. Have a few kids. If you don't, maybe adopt. Don't stop talking to people about Fukushima. Warn the people that are eating in restaurants about fish, not to eat it, things from the ocean. And all you can do really is just try to eat organic. And just keep your body at optimal conditions. Because we are entering a new dark age. This is what they call enlightenment, but the enlightenment is from the Fukushima radiation, from the radiation from the towers, from the radiation that's coming from your cell phone, the computers and the TVs and the towers. It's lighting up our cells, changing our DNA. DNA is really being erased, reprogrammed. People are being hacked, rewritten. So while they're trying to convince people not to have children, they're having a bunch of children. And they pretty much put into the minds of people not to have kids because they're struggling. But it's really kids that will bring you joy. And the kids are a part of you. And create that new future of you. And those thoughts in your mind stay with your children and live on. And really, it's my kids that helps me live on. I couldn't imagine a future without children. That's why we need to shut all these plants down. And we need a decentralized form of government that's out for just people like me and you. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Salud. I wish I could say it's a happy time. But it's that time. Time to live up to the times. And be ready. Have a good one. Good night.